Joseph had the winner's mindset. Everybody wants the palace. Nobody volunteers for the pit. Everybody wants the promotion, the increase, the recognition. But Joseph's story teaches us something powerful. God often develops the winner before he gives the winner the win. Joseph had a dream when he was young. God showed him that his life was going somewhere. But what God did not show him was everything he would have to go through to get there. His brothers hated him. They threw him into a pit. They sold him into slavery. He was falsely accused. He ended up in prison. Yet eventually, Joseph became the prime minister of Egypt. So what was Joseph's mindset? Number one, Joseph knew who he was before he had a position. Genesis 39:2 says, "And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man." Don't miss that. The Bible called Joseph prosperous while he was still a slave. He didn't have the title yet. He didn't have the palace yet. He didn't have the money yet. He didn't have the authority yet. But God called him prosperous. That means Joseph's success wasn't determined by his circumstances. Something was happening inside of him before anything changed around him. That's one of the greatest secrets of winning God's way. You must become successful on the inside before success shows up on the outside. Some people need promotion before they feel valuable. They need people to recognize them before believing that they have something to offer. Joseph didn't. His identity wasn't attached to his position. Whether he was in Potiphar's house, the prison, or the palace, Joseph was still Joseph. Don't let your present circumstances define you. Number two, Joseph knew how to handle someone else's business. This is where many people miss their preparation. Joseph was given responsibility over Potiphar's house, and he handled it so well that Potiphar eventually put everything under Joseph's authority. Then Joseph went to prison, and guess what happened? Genesis 39:22 says, "The keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all of the prisoners that were in the prison." Do you see the pattern? Everywhere Joseph went, somebody trusted him with responsibility. Before God gave Joseph a nation to manage, Joseph learned to manage a household. Before God put Egypt's resources under Joseph, Joseph learned to manage resources that didn't belong to him. That's stewardship. The way you handle someone else's things tells God what you will do with your own. Number three, Joseph knew character was more important than opportunity. Potiphar's wife tried to seduce him. Joseph could have compromised. Nobody back home would have known. But Joseph said in Genesis 39:9, how can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? That's powerful. Joseph understood an opportunity that requires you to compromise your character is not from God. Joseph was willing to lose his position rather than lose his integrity. And he did lose the position. He ended up in prison. For a while, doing the right thing made Joseph's life worse. That's important because sometimes we think, if I'm doing God's will, everything should immediately get better. Not necessarily. Sometimes obedience costs you before it rewards you. Joseph's understanding was, I'd rather go to prison with God's hand on me than to stay in Potiphar's house without God's favor. Never sacrifice tomorrow's destiny for today's temptation. Number 4, Joseph knew his gift still worked in a bad place. Joseph was in prison, but he didn't stop being gifted. He interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh's servants while he was incarcerated. Think about that. Joseph could have said, I'm not helping anybody. Look what happened to me. I'm waiting until God gets me out of here. But Joseph kept using his gift wherever he was. And the gift he used in prison eventually opened the door to the palace. Proverbs 18:16 says, a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Your current environment may not look like the environment where your gift will cause you to win. Use it anyway. Don't wait for the perfect audience. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait until everybody recognizes you. Work your gift. Develop your gift. Serve with your gift. Because you don't know what God will do. Then number 5, Joseph knew how to wait without becoming bitter. This may have been Joseph's greatest strength. Joseph had every reason to become bitter. His brothers betrayed him. Potiphar's wife lied about him. Potiphar imprisoned him. And the chief butler that Joseph helped forgot about him. Genesis 40:23 says, the chief butler forgot Joseph. Joseph helped somebody who had access to Pharaoh, and the man forgot him. Joseph remained in prison 2 more years. Sometimes your greatest test isn't whether you can believe God for something. It's whether you can keep believing when it takes longer than you expected. Joseph didn't know when the call would come. The Bible says his feet, they hurt with fetters. He was laid in iron until the time that his word came. One day Pharaoh had a problem nobody else could solve. Suddenly, Pharaoh's butler remembered. He said, I was in prison, and there was a young man, a Hebrew servant to the captain of the guard. And we told him our dreams, and he interpreted our dreams. Then Joseph was brought before Pharaoh. He interpreted Pharaoh's dream. Then Joseph gave Pharaoh a strategy for surviving the famine. Pharaoh recognized Joseph's wisdom. Genesis 41:39 says, "Because God has showed you all this, there is none so discreet and wise as you are. You shall be over my house." In one day, Joseph went from prisoner to prime minister. But that one day didn't make Joseph ready. The years before that day made him ready. What was Joseph's mindset before success came? He served, he managed, he resisted temptation, he used his gift, and he waited. Most importantly, he walked with God when his circumstances didn't look anything like his dream. So don't despise the season you're in. You may be closer than you think. The pit may be preparing you. Potiphar's house may be training you. The prison may be developing you. Because when God finally opens the door, you don't want to just receive the opportunity. You want to be ready for it. Winning God's way isn't just getting what you prayed for. Winning God's way is becoming the person who can handle what you prayed for. Joseph's success did not begin when Pharaoh gave him the ring. It began years earlier when Joseph decided, wherever I am, I'm going to be faithful. Whatever is in my hand, I'm going to manage it well. Whatever happens to me, I'm going to keep my character. And however long it takes, I'm not giving up on what God showed me. That's how Joseph won. And that's how you win God's way. Please like, subscribe, and share. It's a sin not to win.